Maybe you've outgrown your typical 4x4 dual cab ute, and maybe the idea of a 79 series plus all the money you have to spend on it to make it good doesn't really stack up. Maybe you just want the biggest, baddest, toughest 4x4 around. If that sounds like you, it might be worth having a look at one of these. It's an Iveco Daily 4x4. The Daily 4x4 is a truck in the true sense of the word. While it can be registered on a car license, this Daily is capable of a payload of up to 2.5 tonnes, and it's also got a 3.5 tonne towing capacity. It comes as a single cab or dual cab, with prices starting from $94,500. The engine is Iveco's own, a 3-litre, 4-cylinder turbo diesel truck engine, which makes 134 kilowatts and 430 newton meters, complying with Euro 6 emission standards. There's no automatic option, only a 6-speed manual and 4-speed transfer case. That leaves you with a choice of 24 forward and 4 reverse gears to choose from. The Daily is a big working truck, but it doesn't mean there's nothing on the inside. You've got infotainment here, it's got Bluetooth, it's got maps, no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, however. Below it is climate control, and that works quite well. These seats are heated, which is nice, and they're a suspension setup. That takes a bit of the shocks out of the big bumps on the road. In terms of storage, there's stacks, there's nooks all down through here, along here. A couple of little spots here for your documents, and like most trucks and vans, big parcel shelf up the top. What the Daily does have, which is virtually unmatched by anything else in the new car market, is off-road capability. They judge a four-wheel drive's off-road capability by a few things: ground clearance, traction, articulation, gearing. So, ground clearance. This thing is riding on 37-inch tyres. They look tiny because this Daily is so big, but that means it's got lots and lots and lots of clearance. And those axles are right at the front and the back of the vehicle, so your approach and your departure angles are really good too. This is a permanent four-wheel drive, so it's got front locker, rear locker, and center locking differential, so you can completely lock this thing up when you're looking for maximum traction. And now it's fitted with 37-inch mud terrain tyres. That shouldn't be an issue unless you're going really, really challenging stuff. Just going to drop into this hole here, drop it into first gear. Whew. You feel really high up in this thing, so it does take a bit of getting used to in terms of the side angles. It feels like it wants to tip, but you have to kind of put faith in the vehicle that it's not going to, and let it slowly drive through. Oh, a little bit nerve-wracking though. And the other thing I was talking about there was gearing, and this Daily has stacks of it. It's got a lower end transfer case with 2 levers, so it's got 2 sets of reduction. And that means in its lowest gear possible, you've got a 100-to-1 reduction ratio, which is huge. The Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, which has the second most I know of, is 77-to-1. This thing absolutely blows it out of the water, and especially when you consider a lot of dual cab utes are more around the 30 or 40-to-1 mark. It means you can crawl really slow through challenging terrain, like what I've got coming up here. Now you might think this Daily isn't good off-road because it's so big. One great thing about it is that it's quite narrow. It's actually not that much wider than your typical four-wheel drive, especially modified ones with these size tyres. So it can fit down most tracks. It's definitely high. You're hitting a lot of trees and branches in this thing, so expect a bit of bush pinstriping. Despite having big parabolic leaf springs and a huge payload, the Daily proves to flex really well and stay stable on rutted tracks. Combined with great clearance, 37-inch mud terrain tyres and precious little overhangs, this Daily is incredibly capable. What's perhaps most impressive is that the 2.6 metre height and 3-tonne curb mass doesn't seem to slow this Daily down off-road. It's capable enough to push even the most seasoned off-roaders hard, and will likely have more ability than most can muster from behind the wheel. This Iveco Daily is quite easily one of, if not the most capable off-road vehicles in Australia. And it's capable in more ways than one as well. It's got a massive payload, great towing capacity, and it will do both those things across some pretty extreme terrain. It's not cheap, coming in at around $110,000, and that's before you add things like tyres, tray, bar work, and all the other accessories. But this is a serious truck. Have one look underneath this thing and you'll understand how heavy duty it is. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but there will be a small niche of people who will buy this thing. And if they're using it for as it's intended, I reckon they'll be stoked.